Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Ephemeral One, and welcome back to more Dark Souls 3. Last time, we began hollowing out what's left of the game.
Ah, 'tis good, wasn't he?
Let's see. And we do have the slab, so we can finish making this a plus 10. Was there anything else I wanted to? The daggers... We don't have very high... Like, the daggers are best for their situational early game stuff, but there's also the fire damage, which honestly kind of falls off, so we'll take some extra physical damage. Plus, they'll give me an excuse to keep putting our luck up.
Pretty big, I don't.
So, with maxing out, puts it at 453, which is on par with, the Wolf's Greatsword, and still better than, Of course, the Irithyll Greatsword has the frost effect, so... Which I kind of feel like the build-up should have been increased with it, but... Well, that's for PvP balancing, so I get it. Still... We're actually getting close to the end, believe it or not, folks. We're clearing out the last few of the areas. We've reached the end of the Grand Archives, and we managed to meet the princes. We've explored and plundered the Great Belfry. And here, we've even reached the Corvian settlement, and met the sister, Freed, who rules over the painted world of Ariandel. But we've not explored all of this place. So, at the very least, we can start to get a view on it. So let's do just that. Alright. So let's explore further in. By the way, Corvian Knights can hide in plain sight like that. And as you can see, these corpses are actually corpses. Alright. And actually, with our stats being what they are, one more dexterity, and then I'm going to start pushing luck for a bit, actually. Alright, Corvian Knight goes to work, executing its brethren to protect this place. Yep. Alright. Yeah. Corvian Knights are pretty strong, actually. Yeah. I don't well, what can I say? I don't even have the right number of subs to even begin the basic super chats for an offering. Not that I really would bother. The only time I would honestly seek to do like the $5 the chat thing would be if it's a brand new game I'm playing blind. So, like, if I somehow have enough subs to be able to super chat during, like, Kingdom Hearts 4, I may do that. Or when, like, I'm doing the DLC for Elden Ring. If I had the number of subs to do it, I might, just to limit the number of people trying to spoil stuff for me and trying to ruin it. Other than that, nah. I pretty much would just leave the chat to be, mostly, myself. But now that we've cleared out the Corvian Knights... And note, always pay attention to the sounds in this game, because the game is warning you. That's one thing I will always be, is honest with people. But pay attention to the sounds in the game, because half the time the game warns you with sounds what it's going to do. Alright. Yep. You on the wall. The Painted Worlds are also... We'll come to find out more about their origins later on. And what their significance is, I don't want to talk about until we reach that point. But they are actually, at least as far as lore-wise, very significant. But they're also something that can be overlooked pretty easily. Kind of like how people forget and have forgotten the pygmy. But we'll get there when we get there. Yep. And these corvids. It's always interesting that they're always native to the Painted Worlds. Meaning, likely they're not a natural coincidence be outside of the Painted Worlds. Well, there's a lot to ponder on the Shadow of the Erd Tree. Let's see. Lots of landmass not explored yet. Oh, yeah. Well, part of me wants to believe part of the reason that they are taking so long, and what they're effectively doing, is recreating the map. Because if you go back on my channel, I have a theory on it. When I first saw the picture for Shadow of the Erd Tree, I didn't agree with everyone. I still don't believe that that's Mikola. I think that's Marika that's on Torrent's back. I still believe that. That's Marika on Torrent's back, and what we're seeing under the Shadow of the Erd Tree is the past, and how Marika's war with the Queen of Death went. And that the reason it's taking so long is because they basically have to recreate the map for that time and place. So it may not be as large as the main game, but it'll still be plenty. And as we know, anytime you see it... Oh, and thank you for subscribing. But yeah, one of the major things... And yes, I'm checking all the corpses, because I've played enough Dark Souls games. But... Oh, the gods, yes. There it is. I'm like, I know there's a trap here somewhere. There's too many corpses around for it to not be. Yep. Yep. Yeah, you and your jumping attacks. Heal up. Yep. Anyway. There we go. Prick. By the way, funny thing about the Corvian Knights is they do have a helmet that's similar to some pretty famous movies, and even I can't think of the original name because it's the helmet that Griffith and Berserk wears. Yeah, they can be, but Grand Lance's charge attack kind of knocks them on their ass. It's one of the reasons I like this weapon so much. Also, they talk about this rot that's taking... You'll hear about this rot that's taking hold in this world. That's this worm-like entity that's just crawling and devouring everything. Stone, living, and dead. And you'll see that it continues to spread and consumes and rots everything away. Yeah, unfortunately there's no really good Grand Lance in Elden Ring, so I tended to rely more on the spears. Alright. Mostly just because I think swords are overrated. I could agree with that. It's a plague of some kind. Or some kind of infection that is spreading. So, this world is being slowly devoured. This world that the Millwood Knights were brought to. Yep. Yep. Screwed up. Well, this is gonna suck. I'm probably dead, but not gonna... Yeah. I'm probably dead, but we'll see. Don't give up till you till your HP hits 0. Yep. Like I said, if we went back in time, what are the chances we get to meet and fight Storm King? Maybe take the place of our beloved, the original king, the first Elden Lord. Alright. Imagine that. Being able to recreate Godwin's... Ah, there we go. Yeah, I just didn't have a chance to get in a good attack. Oh well. But yeah, imagine being able to retrace Godfrey's steps by heading into the past. Imagine what that fight with the Storm King might actually be. Oh yeah. I can see that. The Shield of Want, of course, giving you the additional souls is always welcome as well, because I believe it does stack with the silver snake ring, so yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for a farming build, that is absolutely. Because personally, I find just from a personal standpoint, I find, the head that, the mimic head, people like to use it, I don't know, I find it a little cumbersome. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Remember, the best defensive method. Yep. Got me on that one. Oof. Oh, got me. Yep. Oof. I always have to forget. Because I believe Dark Souls 3 is the only one where enemies are so aggressive towards actually getting in that critical hit. Like most other games, most of the other games in the series, they're not as quick to impose on that. Yeah. 3 specifically is one of the roughest with that, where enemies will more than happily get in on you. Let's follow the look. We'll go with the Wolf Knight's sword. Which, incidentally, for those who aren't familiar, maybe missed by earlier streams, the character I'm playing is named Blue. I've named them because that is the same name and the same character in my eyes that was who I did for Dark Souls 1. Because I personally believe thematically, the player character you are in this game is the unkindled version of the character who's linked the fire the first time. Simply brought back from the untended graves because no one's linked the fire in so long. Because that's the prompting factor to this game specifically. If you aren't... It's why for the lords, you face what you gave to the fire in the end, I'd say. But what you remained after the fire burned out, I personally believe, is what your true humanity was. Your individuality. What you gave to the fire was what you was essentially... Ah, gods, yeah. Okay. What you gave to the fire was essentially what made you the first unchosen undead. That guy has a surprisingly high kill rate. Like, there are a number of people I've seen get pushed off because they weren't paying attention. And yeah, these enemies are pretty weak sauce individually. I mean, they only drop dung pies. It's not like they're honestly that dangerous. But... Yep. Very true. But I don't want to get too much more into that before we get to him. Because there's a lot more that we talked about his design, fighting style, and everything else. But I want to save that till we're there. Yep. No, you're fine. I'll say that much. That's my personal belief. Because there's a part of me that will want to also point out, because trust me, I have far more to say about this. That's one thing, if you watch me, you'll learn. I don't ever shut the hell up. Once I have something like this, because there's so much that goes into this game. Into games in general that people overlook, that I never run out of things to talk about, pretty much. From artistic differences, and I'm not just talking like visual design, but the placement of enemies, the tactics enemies use. Like the fact that these guys here, these Corvids, are using magic, but then the ones down below didn't. Almost as if these guys were placed here to defend against something, and these were the ranged casters. These were the guys who were basically set up to fire down on enemies, which isn't which means that this place was under attack at one point, or at least expecting attack. It's why most of these creatures are pretty pathetic combatants, but they still fight you. They're hollow, but they're not completely willless. And they can still use magic, so there has to be some level of mental capacity. Yep, crap. Sometimes you just do that. You hit the wrong button and you do those animations. But yeah. There's plenty to think about. Because you have to remember, a game is an amalgamation of dozens of not dozens, but a bunch of artistic disciplines. Aw, that was sweet of you. The Dragon Slayer armor. Yeah. Oh no, we all had a boss or two that we absolutely abhorred and all helped people out with. Oh well. I just hope you got. I just hope you did so as a sun bro, so you at least got some sun medals out of it for when the times you did help out. The Crow Talons. Where are they? There they are. Excuse me, had to sneeze. Talons used by Corvian knights inflict 5 perpendicular slashes, causing heavy bleeding. In their infatuation with Sister Freyde, the Corvian knights swore to protect the painting from fire, and to this end took the execution to the execution of their own brethren. This is the claw that if you want to use a claw weapon, this is probably it. First off, you get two-handing, so that's always welcome. The attack speed is pretty nice. The basic fist damage output is really good. It does do how much? Yeah, 30 bleed, which is on par with like the katana. Yeah, it's a little less than the katanas. Yeah, it's less than the katanas, but that's still the big thing with it. Of course, is it's big. It's a big move. Yeah, that can get some devastating damage output, especially with how effective bleed can be in this game. So, if you're looking to just punch it, that's a pretty good option. Because, end of the day, sometimes just punching it can be a surprisingly effective tactic. Anyway, now here, what we can do here is open a shortcut. And this shortcut basically means I no longer have to... Where are you? There you are. Okay. Like, I heard you cast. Where'd you go? There we go. But yeah, now that that door is open, we no longer have to deal with the Corvian Knight up there. So, that saves us on some Estus. Because this area is also keyed, you have to remember, for endgame. So this is the area where you're coming to really push yourself, like the DLCs for 2. Because there's secrets here that you can only find by going well beyond what the game expects, or the game would expect for you to do simply. So you have to... Artorias, the great wolf knight whom we are dressed as. A respectable man and, honestly, a great tragic figure. Who put everything into it and sought to preserve his allies to the best of his ability. But just because you're strong and just because you're capable doesn't mean victory will always be yours. And that's the cruel lesson of it. Yep. Being great, being strong, it's not always enough. It's also what prompted the tragedy of Gwyn's own decision to link the fire. Because a question I love to ask people, what are you linking to the fire? We hear the phrase constantly in the games. But to link the fire, what are you linking it to? Our character Blue refused to, for those curious. In his first choice, he didn't link the fire. Someone else came after him after he refused and did it. Oof. Hey, you hit 4 digits. Not bad. I won't be able to give you an answer because, once again, I want to save certain things for certain times. Because I think it only makes more sense in a different area. For those who have played this through, I'll say it this way. The last area of this game is what gives you the answer. What you're linking the fire to. Alright. And you can stay down there. Or at least that's how I see it. After all, I suppose we can... Yep. Of course, the Slave Knight set. I think you're close, but it's a little bit different. But we'll get there when we get there. For now, though, we just got access to something interesting. A cloth hood issued to the slave knights, colored red to vibrantly signify their stature. Long ago, only undead served as slave knights. Warriors used as fodder in the bleakest of battles. They grew decrepit, their skin charred black and their bones twisted. Eventually they went outright mad, but were never relieved from duty. Note It's a it's a little physically stronger than our current armor, but not by much. We've met a slave knight long ago, but the interesting thing is note, the slave knight only looks impressive from the front. As you can see, the backs are exposed. You need only get behind them to truly take them out. And that's the key thing to note. These were knights in name only. They weren't, they were disposable creature, undead, used in wars that they felt would be best won with no losses, where they didn't matter if they fell. Yep. And there's the... Alright. So that's both houses open. But yeah. The Painted Worlds. Though, bear in mind, we only entered this world with only a scrap of the painting. So you... Oh, absolutely. But, then again, that's why the Demon Wars weren't fought by slave knights. In fact, most of the slave knights had been used up by that point. There's just one left now. One still dedicated to his ancient duty. Forgotten, much like the champion Gundyr, who came late to his duty. Which is an interesting thing to think about. The champion Gundyr was supposed to be the one who linked the fire in the Firelink Shrine before us. Okay. Alright. And here's a throwback to the painted knight, to the the knights of the painting. All right. All right. So, let's see. Exactly. Because he wasn't someone meant to link the fire. He was, he hadn't linked the fire yet. Much like how Lothric, Prince Lothric, is noted as being a prince and not a king, despite the fact that the King Osiris, who we defeated, was obviously long since lost his mind and being relegated to the consumed garden. Okay. Yep. 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 Alright. Ow. Yep. Nope. And got me. Damn it. Just didn't have... I had that one last roll, I would have been out of it. But yeah. Champion Gundyr and Prince Lothric, neither of which linked the fire. And are left and regarded as little more than obstacles that you must crush underfoot to link the fire once more. Alright. Well, you know what? We know these knights are pretty... Yeah, let's try the heavy. So for that, I'll go back to the Silver Knight, the Silver Eagle Shield. Shield of Wants, just barely. So the Silver... Oh, no, even that's going to be just heavy enough. So... Yeah, there we go. Okay. Just so I have the good dodge. And yeah, rather than waiting, let's just get rid of these two idiots up here. Because, end of the day, the Evangelist bloody weapon is still stupidly powerful. And there's just something so satisfying about this. Thump. Thump. Especially when you're going through the ruins of Carthus, even if the bleed isn't useful, the sheer stopping power of this bloody hammer is just, fun. I mean, there's just something so satisfying about taking something this heavy and large. Oop. Yeah. Yeah, that's about 1,000 damage total, so... And it's the impact of it that allows it to... Yep. Yeah, it's the impact of this thing allowing it to one-shot. As well as put some of the Corvid Knights on their ass. Because that's mainly what you want to do with them. Because they'll just attack endlessly. Like, you don't have... There is not enough stamina in the world to be able to really deal with them. So, let's try it out. Let's see. Get you over here. Come on, drop down. Let's test. I haven't actually used this on one of them, so let's see. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. And dead. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I wasn't talking about death from the drop, death from the fact I dropped into another Corvid Knight. And say what you want, folks. It's always one of those feelings that's so fun when you realize, yeah, I died because of my own stupidity. The deaths don't feel unfair, they just feel like, okay, I screwed up, what can I do better next time? You know what? We haven't really tried the Aerithil Greatsword. I don't know if they're even vulnerable to frost. Yeah, let's try it out. Always pick a variety of weapons and try them out, folks. And don't rely purely on the pure attack rating. Attack rating isn't the only thing that matters. The speed of the swing, the impact damage it does. If the swing allows you to be evasive, it can be amazing too. You saw I was using Brigand daggers earlier. Daggers are a fantastic choice. Yeah, I talked about the Drake Blood Knights a bit when we went into the Archdragon Peak, but something to note about them is we also talked about them a lot when we did Dark Souls 2 because in both games their idiocy is what pushes so many things to go wrong. Their reverence of dragons, by and large, is skin deep. And I mean that in the figurative and literal way. You see that in Archdragon Peak, where they seek to transform themselves physically into dragons. Whereas in 2, they seek to incorporate dragon blood to themselves. And in doing so, they wake and upset a dragon they had no business doing so. Make no mistake, the Sunken Kingdom would have been, while they may not have survived, the curse was present there anyway. But things wouldn't have gotten as bad if they hadn't blindly rushed over to try and gather Drake's blood. And it doomed them, damned them, and cursed them to be undead trapped in that sunken city, where the entire city was built as a trap to keep them the entire city was built as a trap. There's no way back up. At no point in the sunken city in Dark Souls 2 is there a way back up from the deepest depths. You would be trapped there no matter what. And by the way, and there's the shortcut opened up. So that's one more thing. Yeah, it is interesting that they would ingest the blood of those. After all, there's a old saying, you are what you eat. Alright. So let's see if we can't draw this Corvid out. See if we can't draw at least one of them outside. Are they? Yeah, you're small enough to read. Nope. Oh! I got this. Wow, I actually got the stagger off. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Never use just the attack rating to rate whether a weapon is good or not. Having access to various status effects can make a world of difference as well. And the different movesets. Okay. Other thing to note. So long as you're holding L1, your stamina regenerates slower. So even if you aren't going to parry specifically, always holding L1 in combat is actually to your detriment. I don't know if I've ever actually brought up that fact in this game. Or any of the Souls games, to be honest. It's such of an ingrained tactic. Yeah. And I got that lucky crit. Again, every weapon, there is no unviable weapon, and that is one of the best things I can say about the Souls series. Way of the Corona. A miracle. A lost Way of the White miracle launches a white discus which slices into foes and returns to the conjurer. Long ago, when imprints left by the gods were still deep, miracles of the Way of White existed alongside areolas. Those who yearned for the long-lost areolas fully believed that they would return one day. That sentence right there, this description, the long-lost areolas, or the arts of the gods, I'm of the full and firm belief it's a sort of covering their base, but it's also a retroactive kind of thing where my personal belief is that they were talking. This was one of those things that pushes to the belief that the the ending to Elden Ring is in fact Ronnie's. You can hear some. There it is. Yeah, this is another ambush. Unsurprising. But it's one of my beliefs that the true. Currently, I'm on PS5. For those curious. But yeah, it is my belief that the true ending of Elden Ring is in fact Ronnie's, where she takes what powers that be and departs with them. Basically, leaving the world to grow and change as the people who live there would want, versus having the strict control of the gods that she grew up under be the ruling force. So, and we're all free to disagree, and it's all up to you. In truth, the honest truth, if one is to paint a timeline of continuous games, more than likely it's a bit of a mixture. Like one undead from the no problem. This is what I play these games for. I love the lore. It was probably a mix of things, if we're being honest. Because, like they say, there's more than one of us running around, of us tarnished. Like, the entire point is Godfrey led the tarnished out of the lands between. They traveled around, probably mixed with people, gained all sorts of notoriety. New children, growing up listening to tales of their warrior siblings and wanting to be warriors themselves. Hell, we have that with oh god, with the one warrior that's from Godfrey's own clan from the Badlands, the dual axe wielder. She's an example of this. There are so many tarnished. It's very likely that several tarnished accomplish several different tasks, ushering in a new age. So it would make sense then that it would make sense that one of the things that accomplished was Ronnie's goal. And that doesn't, because her leaving does not mutually exclude any of the other endings except the Chaos Lord ending. And more than likely, the Chaos Lord ending happened, but was immediately shanked by everyone else, shattering that into what we would come to know as the Lord Souls. That seems the most likely turn of events. By the way, yeah, this is not a fake tree, this is another tree. Just start attacking it. And it's an ice one, so it has the ice breath and young white branch. And it has the grab. So that's more the grab is the more dangerous of the two. The ice breath sucks, but you can walk around. You can run around it. It's the grab that, when she does it point blank, that really hurts you. Anyway, we've reached a temple in the very back of this place. Tough enemy ahead. Well, nothing else for it.
I've seen your kind, time and time again.
Oh?
Every fleeing man must be caught. Every secret must be unearthed. Such is the conceit of the self-proclaimed seeker of truth.
Never
But
claimed
in
that.
the end, you lack the stomach for the agony that you'll bring upon yourself.
Is that so? Oh. By the way. Yeah, this guy is yet another user of the black flame. The physical flame. The flame of humanity. The flame of death. And we're the ones who lack the stomach, according to him. I wonder about that. And what do we lack the stomach to do? Yep. Oh. You're gonna heal yourself. Okay. Hey, look at that. Didn't do much. Yeah. Yeah, punishing him every time he heals is really your best tactic. Ow. Yeah. Good thing the black flames have long since lost the real effect, huh? Imagine how bad this would be if that sword had the ability to do like had the old black flame ability to lower your HP constantly by a percentage, no less. Ay, ay, ay. Now, here's the interesting question. Wonder what the difference between the black flame and the profaned flame is. It'd be easy to say that the profane flame simply Yep. Ow. Alright, caught me on the shield. Nope. Oof. Yep. Alright.
Forgive me, my lady. I swore an oath. But I have failed you, Lady Elfrida.
Stay down. Though it's worth noting, do you notice what he never did? He never once took a drink. That's because he wasn't undead. We just killed a living man. No. That was an actual whole human we just murdered. It's the reason he can only heal with miracles. Only the power of the gods could mend his flesh. Indeed. No, he's not unkindled. He's human. We'll know who the second one is later on. But he did just drop something quite nice. the onyx blade. Elfriede, the eldest among her sisters and leader of the Sable Church, bestowed this sword to her knight. Only, the sword was a farewell gift, and acceptance signified the knight's resignation from Elfriede's service. So, what this effectively means is he was defending her without her acceptance. Piles of books and tomes and knowledge. How long had he been here? Did he read all of them, maybe? But there's one other thing to note about the onyx blade. Its skill. Elfriede's black flame. Enwreath the blade with black flame, born of the similarly hued flame that smolders within her. So Elfriede has a black flame within. And we use the contraption key here. To crush and lower the book, to crush the pile of books. And the key to the contraption. The key to the contraption leading to the attic of the archive found on the edge of the Corvian settlement. After Sir Wilhelm led a white-haired woman to the attic of the library, he kept this key as if it were his life. So Elfriede gave him a single final charge to protect and keep someone here. But who could possibly be up here? A single small child scratching into a wooden table.
I believe I feel the scent of ash upon thee. Thou art the one of whom Uncle Gale spoke, the one to show me flame.
Okay.
'Tis good. When this is done, may I return. The door is open thanks to thee.
Who are you?
'Tis good. I promised Uncle Gale I would.
They're off to paint.
'Tis good. When this is done, may I return. The door is open thanks to thee.
Indeed. But this contraption does not move. There's an elevator shaft and a bonfire beyond. It seems we've not plumbed the very depths of this place yet. Still, we've ended Elfriede's night. But make no mistake, that is no small feat. He's quite the well-respected knight among the players of the game. And we've reached the Snowy Mountain Pass. And if you look up, you can see there are more followers of the followers of Farron. So, let's give it our all. Alright. So let's continue. And yeah, as you might expect, more of the followers of Farron. The ones expected to gang up and take out a member of the Undead Legion should they lose. Yep. Should they have ever gone rogue. Their javelins hit pretty damn hard. Now this area is actually supremely rough on you. As you might expect, there's a lot of ambushes by the followers here. Now here's a question. Why are the followers here? Rather, no, just literally. Excuse me. Ah, the followers of Farron. We're far from the swamp. So what makes them... Why would they be here? What connects them to this place? Otherwise, their presence here makes 0 sense. Literally, it makes no sense. Why are they here? There's nothing tied to Farron and the Undead Legion here. Oof. They've all gone hollow, so they've been here a long time. Otherwise, well, the truth of the matter is, they were tricked into coming here. This is where... Because remember, it's their lack of presence that allowed the Undead Legion to decay into the position that they did, where they were so busy killing each other, they couldn't accomplish their goals. Thus, Karthus remained spreading its influence and resurrecting those skeletons. So, there's no connection. So, what brought them here? Well, then very likely, it's not of their own will, but of something that happened to them. And all too often, that's something people overlook. If something doesn't connect someone to something, that can be just as much a hint as what they may have connected to actually. Prism stones, in case you get lost, or if you find an invisible floor you may need to walk on. I actually don't believe there's any invisible floors left in the game. I think it's just the one in Anne Orlando. And much like the fact that these are here, there's also something else. The bell. A bell. It's bizarre. It doesn't really belong here, as far as we can tell. But remember how people have described it in the past. When you enter Firelink Shrine, a bell tolls out, announcing the arrival of an unkindled champion seeking to link the fire once again. Well, what would be the simplest way to silence that? You take the bell and you break it. You remove the entire possibility. And that would be very... So more than likely, this bell was removed. Well, the bell's been removed. Of course they never heard it. It's sitting on the ground here, buried and pulled away. There's no way it would ever ring. The question then becomes, who benefits from no one knowing it? Who benefits from that? That's what you have to ask yourself next. Well, it's obviously not the knight, because he wouldn't have even brought it up if he had been part of that. And the only other person who... Follower gloves, and yep. The only other person who would be worth noting is Sister Frida. But why? But what would that benefit anyone? How does she benefit from the bell never ringing? That's what you have to ask yourself now. This place seems a collection of things. Alright. 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 Get away, because I see the guy about to... Yep. Okay. Yep. Well, it may also be linked to that weird sound we heard inside her cathedral, where... Well, yeah. There's also... Oh, the follower's shield. If I'm not mistaken, that's actually a halfway decent one. Yeah, it's still 80% physical, but the overall percentages are pretty actually good. Standard shield used by the Farron followers, crafted with wood and reinforced with metal, imbued with the faint resistance to the abyss. Yeah, its dark is a little higher than their other stats. But let's go with... Yeah, we'll go with the Black Knight shield. But yeah. So, Sister Frida had the bell disposed of, somehow. And thus... We are left with a place that can't possibly know. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to discover, personally, that this tactic was the same one that sabotaged Champion Gundyr. It's the reason I brought him up is because I believe that the reason he was late, the reason he was never awoken from that big crypt, is simply due to the fact the bell never rang. The bell had been removed, and thus he would never come to fulfill his duty. Because I believe Champion Gundyr's true purpose is much like what we find in this game. He was basically set as a boss and meant to test any of those they resurrect. After all, if you aren't able to beat him, you would have no chance of linking the fire or accomplishing much else. Yep. The follower torch. An offensive torch used by the Farron followers provides light and doubles as a weapon. Some forms of the abyss manifest as pus within the body, treated from ancient times with fire. And yes, can't get... True. It's one of those interesting little things. And the kingdom we've not been to in this game that gets brought up a lot is Londor, a seemingly faraway land of hollows. But it's one of those interesting things. We never see much of Londor. We hear a lot about it in this game, and it's brought up many times. But we have yet to visit it. We've been to Farron. Yeah. We've been to a few other kingdoms. Carthus, or at least the catacombs of it. We've been to many places. We've been to many shores. Lothric. And yet... we'll eventually. But for now... oh boy. Here we go. Alright. Okay. Alright. Yep. 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 Okay. Man. It gets rough. But, yeah, we'll take the torch off. Because that lowered our roll, so... and yeah, like I said though, this is an area that's built for endgames, so don't hesitate to understand that you are going to die. Ow. Prick. Yep. Alright, keep them coming. In the end, though, one of the fact that this area is so clearly tied to so many of the background things of this place are tied to the background of what things that were missing or not exactly explained through much of the main game. Like, okay, but why did the Undead Legion suddenly become so unable to resist the dark? Well, it's because the followers who would normally monitor them and make sure that they are never overcome by the darkness were suddenly gone. Thus the Undead Legion was left to fend for itself and deal with the situation to the best of its ability, which is what locked it in that stalemate we found it in. And the simple truth is, I'll always love this little trap of trying to pin you between two of the fire breathers. Like, this is the competency that allowed them to hunt Undead Legion with an unerring accuracy. These were warriors all on their own. And though it's easy to look down on them, because they weren't the flashy Undead Legion soldiers, these guys were capable in their own right. And used whatever it took to bring down their prey. All for the sake of keeping the Undead Legion capable of felling the greater parts of the Abyss. It's very likely that... Oh, shit. Because it's very, very likely. Yep. That when they discuss it, High Lord Wolnir was likely felled by the Legion. Yep. And I'm just gonna head this way. Yeah. If I remember right. Yeah. Nope, not this way. Okay. Because I was stupid. That's on me. I got myself turned around. That's entirely my fault. And this is the shortcut you're looking for. That brings us back around to the painter. And to this upper part of the area near the bell, as well as getting across to here, where I will always I can nothing but admire the followers. Because they know perfectly how to position themselves to take advantage of the terrain to fell their targets. Titanite chunk. And I don't think there's anything else. Excuse me. Yeah, no. Alright. But yeah, and you could get the drop on this guy. But yeah, it remains one of those things I always have to respect the followers for, is because even after going hollow, even after losing so many of their number, being whisked away, they still keep to their duty. So yeah, that was part of that is my stupidity. I forgot that right there. There he is. Drops you down to that little boss arena, where you have a couple of Millwood Knights, and the great Millwood Knights, and a few other enemies there. The easiest and safest method, if you want to fight these, if you want to, is to use a bow and pick them off one by one. That is an entirely legitimate strategy, and many people would hate you for it because they want you to go the extra mile and fight them hand to hand. The thing I say to those people is, feel free to do it yourself. Do not belittle the people who are pushing themselves to try and fight this stuff. I don't think I have much in the way of ammunition left anyway. Yeah. Eh, got some bolts. Oh, what the hell. Let's see if I have enough damage to pop even one of the knights away. We'll start with the great bow. 329, 358. Nah, 394 on the Millwood. Alright. Alright. Yep. Where's the archer? Okay, there he is. Nice. Eh. Hello. How you doing? Yep. Missed. A little higher? There we go. So yeah, that was the great bow. And I think... yeah. And we'll go with the knight's crossbow. But I don't believe it has the range. Yeah, it doesn't have the range. So we can at least try and get big guy here. Yep, 15 damage. And that's why I don't bother. Yeah, no, it's not worth it at this point. So we'll just move along. I'll eventually go down there and deal with that, but by and large, that many Millwood Knights can be kind of a rough ask. Big wolf, little wolf. And yeah, there's a lot of wolves. Yep. Yep. Come on. Oof. There we go. How about you? Okay. Not too bad. Again, the interesting thing to note about the wolves here is that they're all clearly used to dealing with knights because they have a shoulder charge that is mainly made to break a defensive player. Which is an interesting difference between them and most of the other wolves. Alright. Yep, and get away from the explosion. Alright. Managed to get my souls back. There we go. There we go. Okay. The most dangerous bit about the hammer wielders is that explosion, because more often than not, that's what's going to hit you. And there. Yeah. And remember that what I said. Let go of L1 as much as you want to hold it when you're in close to try and block. If you're planning to roll, let it go so you get more stamina back. Alright. And some of you may consider that a bit of a waste. But to get in and get that damage can be surprisingly difficult with their swing. So sometimes just finishing them off with a charge can be just the safest option. Quakestone Hammer. A stone hammer wielded by Millwood Knights with a head of naturally formed stone. The Knights of Millwood would fight in hand with the earth itself, and this weapon, among the oldest in all of Millwood, is symbolic of that relationship. Burrow hammerhead into the ground with great slam, and use strong attack to upheave earth, creating a shockwave that rumbles like a mighty war cry. And 40 strength with a base C scaling for strength. So, if you're looking for a heavy weapon that relies purely on your physical might, that is an absolutely fantastic weapon. But alright. Now, yeah, I'm being a little timid here, and I'm going to pull these two apart. Though it's kind of an interesting question. The Millwood Knights. Ow. Where are they from? Ow. Yeah. Damn. Ow. Alright, his war cry's done. Like, we're not even sure where they're from. We've not seen any place that would specifically fit these guys. And their techniques are unique to everything else in the game, especially the ability of their archers and hammermen to create earthquakes. There is no type of magic in this game that replicates that effect. The closest that you would find is the Miracle Force. But that's... or the Wrath of the Gods. Yep. those are about the only things that would replicate the effect that they have. Yep. And... Yep. And got me. Okay. There we go. And the heavy gem. Well, it makes sense. These guys are brutes, known for their strength. And yet, they feel all too natural here where we are. So perhaps they are natives of this land. It wouldn't be that surprising, would it? And another shortcut unlocked for us. To make our lives a little easier. This rot, whatever it is, seems to be useful. And hey, bald man. Now, what did we find? Oh. Oh. A catacomb covered in bugs and egg sacs. So this rot, such that it is the larval form of egg sacs for maggots and for these creatures. They're not very strong. Though, isn't it kind of interesting? And yes, that breath attack should look somewhat familiar. We saw something similar a while back in the Cathedral of the Deep of the zombies that spewed maggots and had those maggot-like creatures sprouting from them. Might these be another form of them? After all, they're shaped just like flies. And actually, the other thing that they may remind you of, if we reach farther back in our memory, Dark Souls 1, the lost cities that Artorias ventured into, the corrupted humans there. Well, let's take a look. Oh, in fact, they weren't lying. But yeah, the bright eyes, the vibrant red, reminds me a little of that. There's always a trap. Yeah, it's just a dung pie. Yeah, it's another trap that the game is messing with you for. By the way, easy to miss. Broken arm, yeah. But, and here we can see another one of these creatures clinging to the underside of these boards. more of these flies. Though it seems there's a place here that leads up a long stairwell. Oh, and we've returned. This brought us back. To Sister Frida.
Be forewarned, eager Ash. Should this world wither and rot, even then would Ariandel remain our home. Leave us be, Ashen One. Thou art the Lord of Londor, and have thine own subjects to guide. Leave us thou art the Lord of...
So, she brings herself here. So it brings us here, and we can see the rot was very close to us even from the beginning of our journey through this land. And, as they said,
Thou art Ash. Thou hast a pact made with Uncle Gale, so I wish to tell thee all. Behold its size. This is my canvas. It's to be a cold, dark, and very gentle place. But first, I must see flame. I wish to paint a picture of a cold, dark, and very gentle place. One day, it will make someone a goodly home. That's why I must see flame. I wish of one day, that's why.
a cold, dark, and goodly place, huh? It's a nice prospect, but to know the cold and the dark, one must know the light. After all, it's a case of, well, at the very beginning in Dark Souls 1, we're told that with the finding of the souls, light, dark, hot, cold, all were made known. Alright. And yeah. So, might these forms of life be just another manifestation of that? By the way, so long as they're flying, the bugs actually have lower defense. It's actually one of those interesting little tidbits, so if you can nail them while they're in the air, you can generally one-shot them. Oh, and off. Luckily their grab is not too lethal on its own, but it does inflict that status effect of having the maggots growing on you. So just be aware of when they grab you. Alright. Now let's plunge further into the basement, where there are more of these bugs. And red water, stagnant pools, ideal for the growing of mushrooms and bugs, is so prevalent. In fact, we see that there are mountains of corpses just left here. And there are so many. This place has been allowed to linger and fester for a very long time. Much like the Corvians, though, it's clear yeah. Much like the Corvians, though, it's clear that these are not war-minded creatures. These are here simply trying to survive. Now, you also, if that's your feelings towards her, that's on you, man. But Friday, you have to remember how little you've seen of Friday. After all, there's a ring from Londor we have ourselves that would explain the sweet image that she presents. Remember that every member of high ranking of Londor has... where is it? Where is it? Can't believe I'm misplacing it now. Did I sell it without thinking? Huh, I must have sold it without thinking. There's a ring that called the Untrue Dark Ring that you get. Oh no, I never purchased it. That allows you to look like human even while hollow. So, her being from Londor, it would be no surprise if she was using it. What she actually may look like might be quite a bit different. So, it's up to you. And Friday would happily scythe down as many as it took for her goal. Such is her nature. Yeah. But yeah, this whole area is meant to try and overwhelm you with bleed and proc bleed a few times. And there are a lot of bugs down here. But just be patient. There's not an endless number. And keep a torch on you. All you need to do is keep it on you, pop it once, and you're free from the bleed effect. So, Wilhelm's armor. Let's see. The Black Helm of Wilhelm. Knight of Londor, and a nice fit for any lean hollow. This hollow knight, who served the three sisters who founded the Sable Church, was particularly loyal to the eldest, and was known as a cold-blooded hangman. Now, that doesn't change what I said, but this does change something. Any lean hollow. The hollow knight who served the three sisters... Remember, he never once used an Estus flask. And that can only be used. Blood gem, of course. Well, if you were going to find it anywhere. But your real reward, ladies and gentlemen, is this switch here. Though, you may not consider it much of a reward when you do. Again, a callback to Dark Souls 1 in the Painted World back then. You pull the switch and something opens. The statue turns. And something opens. A path deeper inside the cathedral. What I will warn you is be prepared.
As ashes will be, ever seeking fire.
She shakes her head and waits for us. After all, we've literally just done what she asked us not to. She told us to just leave, forget about this place. But we did no such thing. We continued to explore to plumbing its depths. Even the knight she discarded in Wilhelm, we put to the blade. Everything she built and prepared has been torn asunder purely at our own hands. So, it should be little surprise what's about to happen next. But there will be some other surprises too. But before we face the consequences of our actions, let's take a moment, head back, and see how many levels we can pile on. Oh, she's still here.
Leave us be, thou art the...
And note, I'm not human form, and yet this phantom will be summoned later at a separate location, but you can summon Slave Knight Gale. And you can do so while even hollow. Let that speak volumes, ladies and gentlemen. And the fact that he's only summonable later should tell you the weight of what you've just done. And that puts us at, need like 110. That should be plenty for 2 levels.
Welcome home, speak then. Very well, then take none.
Alright. So we'll take that 30. Yep, we'll put that. And, well, like I said.
Retreating to a darkness beyond the reach of flame.
Yeah, the extra luck.
Farewell, may the flame.
Alright. So we're good there, good there. Alright, equipment-wise, as good as we're gonna get. Alright, folks. As expected, the Ariandel Chapel, is where we are. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a secret that the sister was keeping. It is up for debate, and by reaching this, we have now officially hit some of the hardest fights in the game. I hold that personally, this fight here, what's coming up, is the hardest fight in the game. Just for the sheer length and brutality with which you have to face. I hold that this is probably the hardest fight. A Nameless King is just a lot of learning. Even the final boss is not as rough as what we're about to encounter. Okay.
I see flame. Flame flickering once again.
Oh?
Not enough blood yet shed. My flail. Bring me my flail. Ah, Frida. What stops thine ears? Please, my flail. Right away.
So, now we know what that slapping sound was. A flail against flesh. It's called flagellation, and self-flagellation was actually a rite gone through to supposed to purify one of sin. And this would be a person who believes themselves a sinner and seeks to be punished, or at the very least seeking resolve from that. And note what they're clutched over. This figure who is staked to the ground, mind you. Much the same as the stakes we saw in the Cathedral of the Deep, attempting to seal evil. Seal the evils that were there. He's hunched over and clutching. It's a Lord vessel. I bring this up now because we may not get much time to talk about it later. Without a doubt, it's a Lord vessel. It's the same sickly pale of green that the Estus flask with no Estus is. And this great figure hunched over, deeply, deeply hollowed.
Oh. Bring Frida to me, please. Canst thou not see the flame flickering once again?
There was no flame
Soon
in it.
will it surge. I can see it, feel it.
Fret not, Father. We have no need of thy flail.
Oh?
'Tis only the flame quivering at misguided ash. Please avert thine eyes. I will snuff out these ashes for good.
And so we fight. Sister Frida. Now, be prepared. Sister Frida is no pushover. She's one of the founding members of the church. And as you might expect, one of the more subtle and apt combatants. Yep. And here's where she can got us. Yeah, Sister Frida has no compunction about attacking and executing you from the shadows. She turns invisible. And now you need to listen and look for her footsteps. Yep. Her technique is almost flawless.
Return from whence thou camest. Uria surely awaits thee.
Her only admonishment of you: go to my sister, deal with what she's dealing with. I have this. And she does. She has this place under her control, utterly and fully. And it's clear from the mountains of paintings that someone attempted to make. Now, the figure in the back we'll get to when we get to the chance. For now, we'll need to face Sister Frida and try to show off exactly how you're supposed to beat her. Yeah. So yeah, bring back some extra frostbite resistance might not be the worst thing here. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So from there, I'm trying to show it off. Oh, damn it. I keep overlooking it because I'm just trying to show off how you can see her. Because you can see her motions coming up. Yeah, like here might be easier. Yeah, like... Yep, you can spot her before she gets into it. And that'll deflect the attack. Yep. She'll turn. More often than not, she'll... There we go. Yep. Yeah, more often than not, basically what that attack will do is she'll basically... Okay, so from jump, then she'll turn around. Yep. Yep. Yeah, lost track of her. But there is a backup thing of if you don't know where she's coming from, the musical sting will help you. And Sister Frida falls, pouring out blood. Which is a little strange, isn't it? A hollow of Londor? Bleeding so much, it's drawn into the holy vessel. And with the sister down, oh, he's truly furious. He's still strapped to the chair. There's fire. There wasn't when we saw it earlier. And yet, here it is. Fire so plentiful and warm, spread elsewhere. And these flames are the same as the embers that we can use to become human. And thus, this fight gains a new phase. And now Gale is summoned. Father Ariandel. We finally have a name for him. This giant. As you can see, the sister now attacks more. Yeah. The sister attacks more fiercely and with far greater AoE attacks. Nope, but make no mistake, she is more than happy to go after you. Thankfully, Gale is adept at holding aggro on her like nothing else. And Father Ariandel is a holy man, so he can heal. But yeah, just watch your stamina. Alright, Gale's dead, great, that just makes this, okay, there we go, okay. What? There we go. I was like, say hello to Black Flame Frida. This, like I said, this is probably the hardest fight for the sheer length of it. This is a 3-phase fight. Yep. And just, unlike in the first phase, just finding her won't stop the attack. And note, she now has a ton of area denial. Yep. Oh, there's no way I'm winning this. Yep. The best I can offer is...
Leave us be, Ashen One.
Yeah.
Thou art the Lord of Londor, and have thine own subjects to guide.
Yeah. This is one of the roughest fights in the entire Souls series. Even with Gale's help, like you saw, it's still rough. And more often than not, once she hits phase 3, she's gonna off Gale anyway. Pretty frequently, Gale falls. But yeah, folks. Father Ariandel Father Ariandel, the one who made this painting, and very likely is the one who painted every single one of these attempts of capturing Sister Fride's image. But it was a futile and fruitless effort. There's a specific reason. Even if you look under her hood, you can't really make out her eyes too well. Sister Friede, each of the sisters, are much like the queens of Dark Souls 2. They're shards of the dark, each with their own domain and way to do things. Alright, taking the extra HP. And what makes this fight so frustrating for many people is this. You start from the beginning. There is no checkpoint. There is no easy pass to this. No. You have to start again. And this is a long battle. Alright. Yep, there's the grab. Alright. Yeah, I'm just throwing at that point. Okay. So then she should land there. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, Sister Friede. It's mostly just the length of the fight that makes this so difficult. You have to pace yourself. And note, yep, it is easier to deal with Father Ariandel to hit for damage-wise. And Father Ariandel does tend to have the more focus on you. And as you can see, Gale gets the rough of it. Yeah. No, the upside to this phase is if you can want to end it quickly. Got him. It is not impossible to poise break and get rid of Father Friede pretty quickly. That's going to be your best bet. Because the third phase is where there is so yeah. The truth is, the two who were, it wasn't Wilhelm, it isn't Gale. Friede is the black, Friede's flame, and our own embers. Yep. 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 Though we are the two here in Ariandel. Alright. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I'm gonna wait out the frostbite. Or at least attempt to. The only thing I really wish you could do is see Gale's HP. Alright. Here she comes. Ow. Nope. Heal up. Alright. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. Yep, frostbitten again. Because that frostbite, remember, also reduces your damage reduction. So you take more damage, and that's what she's counting on. Oh. And right at the end. We made it. One of the twisted souls steeped in strength. Soul of Sister Friede. Friede was the first Ash to enter the painting, but together with the good father, they chose rot over fire. They chose to let the world decay rather than linking the fire. And remember, I asked you earlier, what are they linking the fire to? Well, surely we'll find some answers. Eventually here. Alright. Let's see what Sister Friede can become for us.
Ah, and the black eyes that shimmer with 'tis as if it were but yesterday. We did all we could to spare her from them. Much has happened since. Mayhap I should apprise thee of what the thin light of these eyes might reveal to the eyeless firekeeper. Scenes of betrayal, things never intended for her ken, visions of this age's end.
I didn't bring it up at the time, but behind a hidden wall in the untended graves, we did find the eyes of a firekeeper, black as pitch. And we have the option to give those to her. We'll deal with that later. Just know that Ludleth of Corland, the exile, Ludleth, directed us towards them as well. And from the soul of Friede, we have two options. Neither of which we can actually use, because we're not based on faith. But great scythe wielded by Sister Friede, with a curved blade thinly coated by the painted world frost that easily breaks the guard of shields. In the painting, the scythe is a symbol of a long-lost home, possibly explaining Elfriede's preference for it. Conjure a magic-bladed support scythe into the left hand while the great scythe remains in the right. A stance derived from Elfriede's former swordsmanship. Use the normal attack to leap forward and swing twice, or strong attack to coat the earth with running frost. Or the flail used by the bulbous father of the painted world to shred his own skin, producing blood to appease the flame. Both a weapon and a miracle catalyst. Ariandel, being the restorer of the painted world, knew that it was painted with blood, and only blood could protect the secret. Violently flail oneself to trigger an awakening that temporarily boosts the strength of miracles, just as the good Father used the rose himself. Neither of these are things we would use.
Now.
So, but before we do, she mentions her sister. Will she now hate us for what we've done? Let us speak with her.
Might that soul be... Nay, never mind. It belongs to a woman from Londor. To
True.
provide succor for the Lord of Hollows surely would bring her much honor. In return, thou needst only do her a small kindness. Remember those who stayed by her to the end, in the shadows cast by fire.
And so we shall. I didn't buy these, the untrue dark and white ring. But someone brought up earlier that they would allow Frida to scythe them based on their looks. And I would remind you that this ring exists. One of the illusory rings worn by the Hollows of Londor. You retain your human appearance while hollow. The Hollows of Londor are wretchedly aged, fraught with deceit, and dubiously secretive. It is no wonder they are deeply detested. So, the simple truth is, any of those of Londor that we meet are very likely horribly, wretchedly undead. Something like ourselves, after all. And note the branches growing out of our wounded chest. Still, we are indeed we are hollow, and one of them is we may not owe any allegiance to Londor, but we would at least be welcomed by them in our state. So, we shall bring her soul to us. And that leaves us with...
Welcome home, speak thine. Very well, then touch the take nourishment. Let these souls withdrawn from their vessels, manifestation.
Alright.
Farewell, Ashen, may the flame.
Let's see. I don't think I have enough to be able to get to...
How?
Alright, so it's 36.
Ashen.
Let's see. And I need 58.
Ah?
So if I sell 10 embers... Let's see. The pellets I can kind of just sell. Let's see. Dung pies don't matter. The pine resin I can sell because most of my weapons come equipped with most of that. Those don't matter. Let's see. You know what? I can probably sell 30 of my Yeah, many, I may have a bit too much. Let's see. Dupe weapons. Don't think I have any dupe weapons. I know I have some of the armor sets dupes. Just see about getting rid of some of them. Like follower armor. Alright. Yeah, deacon robe. Follower gloves. Okay, how's that?
Ashen One.
Puts us at
Ah.
200 more, so... I know I was gonna say follower boots I know I have. Oh, Lothric Knight leggings. Alright. And workers. Trousers and deserter trousers. There we go.
Ashen One.
Okay.
Welcome, speak. Very then taken.
Alright. I just want to get up to like 25 on luck.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flame.
Alright. And... by the way, what does that put our... yeah, 461. That's not bad. Alright. Any other thing we want to finish off?
Ah, 'tis good. What needs?
Let's see. Yeah, let's finish off the daggers.
Pretty, I go.
So they're as strong as they can be. Alright. So, I didn't talk about it, but that was because I wanted to get everything set before we delved into what is the final area of the game. And it's an area that you can get to from two different ways. Well, it's one of the final areas. I consider it all one area, though I think it takes up 2 pages. Officially. But... oh. Okay, my bad. But yeah, there's a bonfire for... alright. Oh. And we've eliminated pretty much every other sentient being in this area, save for the painter.
Those who aren't kin to fire cannot paint a world.
Who don't know
Those
fun.
absorbed by fire must not paint a world. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten, Mother. I can hear the fire crackle, and soon I will see it. My thanks, Ashen One. I will finish the painting of a cold, dark, and so that it might make a home for someone someday.
The painting of a painted world from inside another painted world. But With defeating Sister Frida, we've gained access to a place very unique. Before we go, though, take a look at who's here. It's a doll replicating a serpent. A serpent-like person. Well, notice that this doll's face is covered in this serpentine skin, but then there's a ragged cloak wrapped around them, with finally a tail stretched with a tail of logs stitched together on a rope to simulate the shape of a tail. This would be something like a lamia, we would think of it in our world. But this person, or this figure, long since gone. And note, Father Ariando, the creator of this painted world, or as he called it, the restorer, was tied down and chained looking away from them, as if this figure was too sacred or holy to be observed directly by him. A reminder of something. But the question is what? Well, there is no set answer. This is a world we weren't meant to see. Sister Frida said point blank, this is not your duty. So we don't have all the pieces to fill in this in. This is a story we stumbled into, and we can only accept what we see. And here, we may now travel to the Dreg Heap using this specific bonfire. So if I had to guess though, this is the remnants of a firekeeper. If I had to guess, this is the remnants of the Emerald Herald. She was a child of dragons, thus the scales and the tail, and endured as long as she could to try and help those to link the fire. But through time, tide, and all those other things, and all the way things go, if I had to guess, the Emerald Herald, when you didn't link the fire, or rather even if you did, it didn't matter. It bought time, but eventually the world would succumb to the darkness. And this painted world exists outside of the rules. So if I had to guess, this is the end of the Emerald Herald. She was considered a sacred being to this world, so much so that Father Ariandel, the chosen undead to link the fire, felt that the world was not worth saving without her, and chose, under Sister Freda's seduction, or what you would call it, let the world to rot, finding it in the state we find it now. So, what did that leave us with? A path to the Dreg Heap. A new place. A pilgrim. Are you still sane?
Oh, your head's square on your shoulders, is it? I thought that clamoring tin can was the last. But here we go again. What is it you want from this old stone-amped hag? I've nothing for you, not a smithereen. I just like to stand here and take in the view.
No business in particular.
Keep your marvels intact, love. At least until I lose mine.
Take a look where we are. In some castle, with castles piled upon castles, 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 powers piled upon castles, piled upon castles, piled upon castles. A place of desolation. And if you'll notice, the place is steadily looking to collapse.
I've nothing for you, not a Well, that you think an old stone-amped hag would be brimming with goodies? I've no...
Yeah, you have to tell her you have business with her, and she has a simple shop, nothing amazing. The split-leaf greatsword. A long-handled greatsword that made its way from a distant land, crafted entirely with steel, making it exceedingly heavy. Split-leaf refers to the shape of the great blade and resemblance to the veins of a leaf. Its skill, the wind wheel. Spin weapon vigorously above the head and sweep foes. Transition with normal or strong attack for continued spin attacks, which whip up wind and gain momentum, strengthening subsequent attacks. If you have the stamina for this, this weapon is incredibly good, but requires considerable strength and dexterity to manage. And we'll have to come back for it. Or
At the close of the Age of Fire, all lands meet at the end of the earth. Great kingdoms and anemic townships will be one and the same. The great tide of human enterprise, all for naught. That's why I'm so taken by this grand sight. This must be what it's like to be a god.
to see it all fall apart.
Oh, if you just can't stop yourself, at least hear this. Far below, there's a deep, dark hole carved out of a tree. From time to time, voices brim from the depths of the cavity even now. Mutterings of the very demon that Prince Lorien spoke of, I'm sure. Horrible sounds of an afflicted thing, yet cursing men. At the close, this.
Alright.
Keep your marvel, at least until I...
Now, the thing to note, look about midway in the screen. You'll notice there's something moving compared to the rest. This is an interesting little trick they pull, where effectively it's a piece of the scenery supposedly collapsing in on the rest of it. Just to give you an idea of what all this weight is doing, is slowly collapsing down on itself. And as far as the split leaf greatsword, nope, it is 194 unupgraded. You use it like a regular halberd, so it's got the sweeps. But the real power of it, oh, didn't have enough stamina to do it, my bad. But yeah, the sweep. But like they said, this is extraordinarily heavy. So, when even the Grand Lance is a lighter weapon. And here we see our friend Gale showing us a way down. That's a deep drop, man. You sure? Alright. Well, the least we can do is trust him. And yeah, this ash is actually acts as a cushion to stop you from falling. And now we find ourselves under attack by the creatures that exist here. Yep. Yeah, this area above all else, this is the endgame area. The sounds these creatures make. They're horrible, but they're all too familiar at the same time, wouldn't you say? And they all are using a scythe, so blocking them isn't going to be really worthwhile. And yeah, just point blank. Oh, this is where your dark resist is going to be pushed the furthest. As you might have noticed, there's a lot of hexes here. A lot of dark damage. So, let's switch out to the dark stone plate ring. And where there's dark, let's see how our flaming dagger may work. Now this is whole and completely one of the darkest areas. By the way, yeah. Note that these guys were all summoned. But they don't go away once they've been summoned. Yeah. Yeah. They don't go away. Once they're summoned, they're here. So, just be aware. Though their faces, there's some resemblance to, well, many of the enemies. But and here we see a dragon. Or a wyvern at the very least. Nope, no hidden items buried in the way. But yeah, you actually don't have to go through all that. If you drop down, I'm trying to remember because it's further up, but you can drop down into that ash. I believe if you do it right, you do not take any fall damage. And you get the drop on these summoners. But it's been a little bit. So let's see. And up here... Oh. The inverse of the angelic knights. Heal. There we go. Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say fire damage ain't the thing for these guys. Their head's made of the abyss itself, it seems. And even have the butt stomp from the trolls. And the attack from Yorm. They seem a combination of many enemies we've seen. Ooh! Got me good on that one. That was just my bad roll. But yeah. These enemies. Well, when all else fails, going sometimes with what you rely on, or trust best, might be best. Now, let's try our luck. Like I said, since we didn't take the obvious way, they don't get to summon all their friends. As such, things get a little easier. And that's going to be the secret to this area, to the Dreg Heap, is learning how to work around what's here. And yeah, that's better damage. There we go. Yep. Alright. Nice. Okay, got out of that one. And the jump. Ow. Yeah. And down he goes. That head of abyss gone. A titanite chunk. And we can see here the seal of the sun still present. Aquamarine dagger. Thank you for the good luck wish. Have fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. A dagger fitted with an aquamarine crystal, engraved with a prayer in the old tongue to ward off incident. Perhaps it was a parting gift given to one sent off on great travels. If its skill is Crystal Blade, release magic from the aquamarine crystals, creating a fleeting blue crystal blade, lengthy enough to swing as a straight sword. So a great supplementary weapon for a caster. But that's not who we are. Still, you have to wait till now to get it, but it is still an excellent weapon. It's light, mobile, and usable. And that's it for this upper area. So, let's go down into... And yeah, I believe it's the same tower, just sliding back and forth in the background. It's just a really cool effect to me that the idea of this entire area just piles upon piles of these towers and castles. Just absolutely still collapsing and falling in on themselves. Much like this. Soul of a Weary Warrior. Yep. Alright. Oh! Well, that was a thing. This is a tutorial, actually, teaching you to be very, very wary of the casters in this place. Because they can sacrifice themselves to cast a single spell out of spite that could very easily one-shot you. The Murky Hand Scythe. Well, where is it? Huh. Oh, there it is, okay. A short-shafted hand scythe wielded by the merkmen who rise from the depths, enveloped by a black dampness and imbued with a strength of dark. Yeah, it does dark damage, and it's based off your stats, so... Though it has very low requirements, showing that the merkmen are not necessarily... Yeah. They're quick to sacrifice themselves. But it doesn't seem that they're... Yeah. Twinkling Titanite. But yeah, and note where we fell into. A hall that reminds us of the Grand Archives. Books and tomes aplenty with the chandelier fallen, as if this entire place had collapsed and fallen in on itself. What? Oh. Oh. And ladies and gentlemen, you'll remember the pilgrim butterflies. Well, this would be the true form. The pilgrim angels. Figures. After all, we heard that angels were worshipped in Lothric. Well, it would almost be one to believe that these creatures are what they hope to become. And no, I didn't miss. These creatures are immune. So there's not much I can do for it at this point. Alright. A lightning urn. Whoop. Yeah, the Mercmen are merciless. They will just attack you from any angle. And it's clear that walking that way in front of that angel is just going to get a shot. So, let's head to here. To finding Knights of Lothric? Knights of Lothric. Yeah. Definitely feels like the damage of a Knight of Lothric. Alright. Well, Titanite chunks, so if nothing else, there definitely is. Oh. Alright. Yep. Ow. Okay. Ow. I'm getting my timing off. Yep. There we go. But yeah, Knights of Lothric. There's even the beheaded statues. What are they doing here, though? The Dreg Heaps. There's the name of this place. Soul of a Crestfallen Knight. Well, this place is just a menagerie of, well, everywhere you've been. Almost as if our journey was hardly unique. Yep. And yeah, Mercmen. In fact, take a look. This is one of those slimy half-dragon creatures producing out of this knight's armor. Fossilized, it's long been so long. Rusted coins. It's obviously all been here a very long time. And here, again, memories of the beginning of the game. Yep. Oh, it fell off. But these whole areas are taken wholesale from the start of the game. The High Wall of Lothric. Are the developers just gotten lazy? Or is there something more to it? Because that would be the easy answer, as a lot of people would just leave it as, oh no, the developers just got lazy at the end, so they were just using quick save assets. But, which is easy to say. But there's also times where that's a mechanic in the story. And the story they're telling us is of a place that has been repeated. In other words, a story that has been repeated over and over and over. Endlessly, almost like these soldiers, these mercmen. Is there really no end to them? Oh, finally got me. The truth is, I believe there actually isn't. I believe that spot specifically, there is no end to them. And again, just making sure I line this up. And makes life so much easier. Alright. And we fall down yet again. Oh, damn it! Get off me. Ow. Now, what these mercmen turn into. That figure. It looks like a humanity with arms. If you'll recall Dark Souls 1. Ow. If you'll recall Dark Souls 1, I truly do believe that this is Alright. That the reason the mercmen are infinite is because we're closest to the dark. And by that, I refer to where humanity first came from. Alright. Alright. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. There it is. Alright. Up. There we go. That's great buffing. Nice. More chunks. Refined titanite. Excellent. But yeah. So the reason that those Merkmen just kept coming is because, well, we're close to the dark now. We're the source of it all. And there is the reason they're so willing to sacrifice themselves is because they'll come right back. So it matters almost none. Yeah. Damn that jab. Murky Longstaff. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, there's just an infinite amount of these guys, so I wouldn't suggest bothering. But it looks like there's a ladder up there. We'll need to figure out a way around. But for now, let's continue on. Again, note that this mound here that I'm looking at is the petrified version of that dragon arm that the consumed king you'd find plentiful in the consumed king. King's still guarded. And this place is unstable. I mean, none of these castles were made to be like this. And here we can see the angel now spots us. But as you can see, there's some thing over there. Some hollow remnant. Well, there's only one thing we should think to do. And with its fall, the angel vanishes as well. And that should tell you everything you need to know. Those creatures, those angels, are simply another form of hollow. And with the collapse of that tower, we can now reach up over here. A higher place. Where we can meet someone in a very unique set of armor.
Oh, look at you. You've got your head screwed on correct. Fantastic. To meet a kindred spirit on this god's forsaken crag, call me Lab. I can't remember my real name, so let's just go with that. I have a feeling we're going to make a fabulous team. Oh, you'll see. You'll see. Oh, in all honesty, there's something I should tell you. I'm hollow. Yes. I try to play it off, but I haven't a clue about my past, who I was, or what I lived for. Not even my own blessed name. That's why I've come here, searching for the Purging Monument. Said to be in the Ringed City, where the pygmies who found the Dark Soul at the Dawn of Fire reside. All I can say is, those little stones aren't doing much to help me remember anymore.
So we got quite a bit of information from Lab. Pygmies that found the soul at the start, at the dawn of fire. They're somewhere in a ringed city, somewhere beyond here. He's looking for purging stones. Inhabitants of Londor, Land of the Howls, use this secret treasure to feign normalcy. Occasionally, a hollow fools even himself and turns on his own kind.
Well, that's the long and short of it. So if I completely forget who you are, don't be wroth with me. Come on. What else can I say? I'm a bloody hollow, for heaven's sake.
Indeed. He's a hollow, but so are we.
Well, come on.
So, we have no control over what we'll remember and not. So, we can only be. Still, we've made a new friend here at what seems to be the end of the world. Wherever we've been brought. Still, there's plenty more to see down here. Yep. Yeah, the Mercmen just constant ambushers. You just have to learn to deal with them. And the item, a ring of steel protection +3. So, gives us a few more points of physical damage reduction. And you would have now needed to deal with the angel with that, but that's where this comes in handy. Still, it's clear we're not alone here, at least, wherever this place is. It's awfully desolate and lonely, even by comparison to the other places we've been. Even the smoldering lake seemed a bit more hospitable than this. Oh. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And as ever, it's a trap. But one we managed to survive. Oh. Wow, they got up real fast on that backhand swing. Now, big guy. If I was an archer, this would be prime target to just take him out. But we'll just have to make do. And well, that looks like Ash. Well, let's see. Let's try our luck. Indeed. Allowing us a secret way past some enemies. And yeah. caster. Oh, damn it. Got me good. Alright. Okay. Now with you by yourself... Alright. Trying to get rid of the caster. And the other caster. From summoning all the little guys around. Alright. Nope. Alright. Alright. Can I get him? Yep. Oh, damn it. It is so awkward to try and nail that. That timing. Still. This is one of the final areas, so it makes sense to be rough on you. Still, I think I'm gonna call it here for right now, folks. We managed to get... you know what? Yeah. We'll take... Speaking of the hardest bosses, we'll take one more shot at the Nameless King. I'll see if anyone else wants to help. Because this is one of the roughest fights in... Did I never buy the white? Oh no, I did buy the white. Because one thing you can check with the white soapstone is where people can leave their names. So where to look for help. And of course someone just invaded, so of course. Yeah. Arena of Karim. Oh, one of the lore ones. Okay. Okay, it's one of the story one. Rosaria Finger. Yep. One of the dragons. Yep. One of the dragon worshippers. Nope. Yep. Yeah. And I can't roll fast enough. Yep. That's on me. $76.4. Oh, I'm not wearing Havel's ring. Okay. That was my bad. Alright. Alright. We'll make one more sincere attempt. I'm just looking to see if I can't get anyone else to help out. But looks like I'm on my own. Okay. Not a big deal. As you've seen, I have done these fights solo in the past. It's just easier with a second body, especially with this one. Oh well. Mostly, I only really need it for the second phase, is the funny part. So, the Nameless King and the King of the Storm. Yep. Okay. Alright, so for now, wait till he throws, then roll, and swipe. Then he'll come down. For it. You can roll. We're not completely out of it, but far enough out that it won't matter too much. And yeah, as you can see, you can poise break the King of the Storm pretty easily. Yeah, the King of the Storm is not so bad on his own. It's always going to be the Nameless King himself that's the hard fight. Having enough stamina to dodge his attacks is always going to be the tricky bit. Because he is devastating. Don't get greedy. If you have to do this one attack at a time, do it. And like I've said, you are never out of sight his attack range. Basically imagine he has his blade at your throat at all times. Up. Basically, this is a fight you have to dance with the guy with. There is no cheap, easy tactic. There is no trick. Just punishing when you can, being patient, and not fearing what's going to come next. Yep. Okay. This I just take on the shield. I'm sorry that I don't know of a good way to time that. I've never managed to time that roll right. Ow. Yep. Yep. I said, just take it on the shield. Alright. Nice. Alright. Now, after... Yep. Just stay patient. And understand that he will delay some attacks. Just to mess with you. Ow. Okay. Heal up. Take it on the shield. Yeah, okay. I was too further back than I thought it was. Nope. Not going for the second? Okay. Ow. Yep. This is where most people get cocky. And get killed. Because they get nervous that there's one more shot left. Stay calm. Stay relaxed. And learn his pattern. It's debatable which fight is truly hardest, Sister Frida or the Nameless King. Both require an extreme level of competence, but they teach different lessons. Still, both are entirely possible, as you've seen. And like I said, the big thing to note about Sister Frida is don't let Father Ariandel drag out the fight longer than it needs to be. And with the Nameless King gone and felled, the skies return to normal over the dragons, the Archdragon Peak. And here we find his soul. Used to acquire many souls are transposed to extract its true strength. The Nameless King was once a dragon-slaying god of war, before he sacrificed everything to ally himself with the ancient dragons. Another Titanite slab. And he came here once upon a time. You can see the bloodstains from all those who have fell to the Nameless King. Hard to believe we made it. The Dragon Slayer set. Golden lion helm associated with the Dragon Slayer Ornstein from the Age of the Gods and imbued with the strength of lightning. In the Dragonless Age, this knight, who long guarded the ruined cathedral, left the land in search of the Nameless King. So in this world, the Dragon Slayer spear. So what this tells us is, pulling it back a bit, Blue didn't, remember I said Blue never linked the fire. And in this world, the fire was never linked. At least, well no, it was at times by various other Lords of Cinder. But it hasn't been for a long time. And for Ornstein to have come seeking, to have come here seeking the Nameless King, who was banished by Gwyn, would tell you that this place, things played out differently than what we remember. And that would make no sense unless you'd seen the Dreg Heap, where things have piled and piled and piled and piled upon themselves, time and time and time and time and time again. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Welcome home, I shall speak that. Very well, then touch the dust. Take none. Let these souls withdrawn from their vessels. Farewell, Ashen, may the flame.
Alright. And let's see what we could gain from the Nameless King's soul. Though I imagine you will think of it immediately. First, the lightning storm. Call forth furious bolts of lightning. Miracle of the Nameless King, ally to ancient dragons. Once a slayer of dragons, the former king and war god tamed a storm drake on which he led a lifetime of battle. This miracle is likely a tale of their bond. Note, take a little closer look at this page behind it. You'll see the image of a king with knights knelt before him. The funny bit is, I never brought it up, the custom piece of artwork is that each of the pages in the background of the spells is different. Especially for the incantations, where their tales imbued on them are very different. And then the storm curved sword imbued with the strength of the storm drake. The Nameless King, ally of the ancient dragons, fought beside the storm drake in countless battles. When the great beast fell, the king claimed his soul, as was the custom in the age of the gods. Its skill is tornado. Imbue the blade with the wrath of a storm, and in a spinning motion, follow up with strong attack to bear that wrath upon foes. Or the Dragon Slayer's Sword Spear. A dragon hunting weapon from the age of the gods, the earliest form of the cross spear, serving both as sword and spear. Its owner was the Nameless King and deific hunter of dragons. The sword spear is imbued with lightning, of which he was the heir. That would require 18 faith, but the Storm Drakes doesn't require anything that we don't have. So, and it's the most fitting for the character of Blue.
Now.
After all, Blue himself in my stories, is a dragon all his own. Superb. And its skill? Impressive. Well, let's see if we can't improve it a little more.
Tis good, wasn't he?
Titanite scales. And there we'd need 5 more.
Pretty big, I don't want it.
Still, as it stands right now, 273, not the worst. I'm trying to remember. I believe, though, trying to remember. I believe the little lizards, the rolling lizards here, actually do drop scales, Titanite scales. So, I may want to take some time and get that just to max this out. Alright. As you can see, not much in the way of real damage. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's some decent damage. Yeah, that flips him. Ow. Yep. Alright. And it is a fairly mobile weapon, so you're fairly light with it, so... Alright. Yeah. Definitely not our strongest weapon, so... But yeah. So, someone else has pulled the bell and is looking for help with the Nameless King. And yeah, when this game first came out, when the DLC came out, I remember watching all of us struggle so much with the Nameless King. Twinkling Titanite, and remembering just how many of us were kind of laughing about the fact we found the Nameless King in the game. Because for the longest time, all of us really did think, when the first game came out, that the banished war god was our good friend in the original Sumbro. But, come to find out, as the game pointed out, he was just very well trained. He wasn't a god, he was just an extremely capable man. Which is a miracle all its own in one form or another. Bye-bye. And yeah, there's no way to really get over here. It's just purely there for the Elder Wyvern to breathe fire down on you from up on high. Still. It's pretty amazing. We've managed to clear Archdragon Peak, and so all that's left, really, is the Dreg Heap and what lays beyond. But I think we'll leave that for another day. For now, we've made excellent progress. And so, I think we'll leave it there. I want to thank you all for joining me, though. Let's see. I think this just leads us another way back around. Yeah, this just leads you the shortcut So if you didn't want to deal with the snakes. Yeah, these guys' damage resist is actually phenomenal. Oh well, no Titanite scales. And lots of dragons up there. And just doing one final pass because I can't remember if this dropped off anywhere particularly useful. Nope. Because I don't remember there being anything past the wyvern's wings. I think you could drop off down here. I don't think he gets you anything other than a shortcut back. Yeah. Oh no, there is something. Well, this is why you double check and double check areas, because... Ah, great magic barrier. Okay. Nothing useful for us, but still nice to know. So yeah, if you were looking for great magic barrier to help deal with like some of, because I believe the angels, the pilgrim angels, are considered magic damage, so that could help especially with the princes. Because remember, the Prince of Lothric is, despite the yellow hue to his magic, it is still magic damage. So even just taking a blue pellet might help reduce some of that damage incoming. Especially since his spells tend to be a mass of smaller, weaker shots, so that reduction in damage actually is multiple times over extremely good for you. Picking apart an enemy's attack pattern and figuring out various things, how to reduce and what works best, is going to get you very far. But, like I said, we have the Dreg Heap and what lays beyond it next time, though. So, thank you all for joining me. I have been the Ephemeral One, and this has been more of Dark Souls 3. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now, folks. Bye for now.